We're in Big Fish Alley here with all the trees. Let's see if I can high stick one here. Oh my God, that's a big fish. Oh, and he came up and looked at it twice. Oh. There he is. He came up and got it. Oh, yeah. Oh, there he goes. Can I get down in that water, you think? Oh, he came up and gave me a second chance. Third chance, actually. He's a big fish.
Well, it's strong current here.
Yeah.
You have to, when you tire them, skate them to the top.
Oh, no!
Good release.
Oh, good release.
Thanks for tuning in to Dan's podcast, Fly Fishing and Stuff. Dan, fun fact. A fun fact about Dan. Fun facts about Dan. Shit Dan doesn't want you to know. Dan used to be a car guy, and before he met me and I put the hammer down, he hadn't owned a car for more than 18 months.
And now here's the man, FlyFishDan.
So I was looking for a cool backdrop to do today's video. I think I found it. I'm up here camping, so I'm gonna crack a beer. I'm gonna tell you a little bit of a story about a fish that I caught that was completely unexpected and ended up being something I've been trying to catch for a lifetime, and especially on a fly rod, but up till this trip was not having any luck. So let's crack a beer. Cheers. So kind of cool. So it was last year. Was it the year before? Year before, 2 years ago now. Time flies. I wanted to fish this one particular river for a long time, but rumor had it there wasn't a lot of fish in there because it received just a ton of pressure. There was tons of campgrounds in and around this river, so I never really targeted. I always went downstream and hit some of the rivers below. However, one year we had an especially hot summer, and the fires were just terrible. And we had one particular fire that was burning some, 100,000 acres, and it closed all the campgrounds around for about 4 weeks. Well, early fall, it wasn't quite fall, it's like super late summer. Super late summer, they put out the fire and they opened things back up. It literally was the day of, and I thought, you know what? If there's ever an opportunity to fish this stream that's rumored to have no fish in it, today was the day. So I grabbed my 5-weight and my 3-weight, and I headed up in the mountains, and of course I had the whole place to myself. So it started out kind of typical. I mean, this little stream is absolutely gorgeous, right? It's high elevation. The rocks and structure are just absolutely amazing. And I thought, I'd probably get into some native cutthroat and maybe some rainbow, but I wasn't quite sure. I was very hopeful. Dries were still happening, so I had one rod setup with the dry, and I had another setup with the tried and true Sculptzilla. And I was fishing, kind of starting at the start. I don't want a hot spot. At the start, and I headed upriver, and I caught a couple of really nice cutthroat. And even though the water was like super clear, so I was trying to be somewhat stealthful, I was very fortunate to catch a real nice cutthroat, probably 10, 11 inches, because that's what I was expecting, and a couple of just gorgeous brook trout as well. So I'm hiking up the river and just kind of minding my own business, and essentially I would work a hole with the dry dropper, and I would get into a couple fish, and then I would run the Sculptzilla through that same hole once again, just to make sure I'm covering all my bases both on top and on the bottom. And that's a lot of times why I carry 2 setups, so I can cover both topwater and below subsurface before moving on. But I mean, it was just gorgeous. Had the whole place to myself. Absolutely gorgeous. I was catching lots of little fish. And then all of a sudden, I make an upstream cast, right, in this kind of shallow area, and I was just above a little waterfall. stripping it in, and the next thing you know, I hook into a fish that I've been trying to target for so many years. Hooked into one, I think it was, anyway, in Montana once, never saw it. So there's very few places in Washington you can target this specific fish. And in this river, you couldn't target them all. In fact, I had no idea they even existed in there, and I was going for cutthroat. But I just happened to hook into this absolute monster bull trout. Some people call him Dolly Varden. Just this beautiful bull trout, and it gave me the ride of my life.
Oh my God, fish on. Just this massive fish in this tiny river. Oh my God, I think it might be a bull trout. Holy shit. Oh crap. Goes down the waterfall. Dude. No, don't go down there. Oh my God. Holy shit. Oh my God. Oh my God. Look at this beautiful fish. Oh my God. That has got to be a bull trout. I'm fishing for these tiny little rainbows on this teeny stream. Holy crap.
The thing about bull trout too, they're bulldogs, right? They are hard fighting machines. And I thought this guy was going to go down the waterfall. My heart was pounding. I was so excited. But I also knew, right, this is an endangered species in my state. So I got to be careful, both reeling them in and when I net them and making sure I kept them in the water. But what happened next was super cool because it was probably one of the best underwater shots I ever got after landing this absolute beautiful fish. So as you can see, I was pretty excited to land that fish. I mean, again, you know, there's only like maybe 3 or 4 streams in Washington state that you can actually target bull trout. But if you accidentally hook into one and you're not targeting it, you have to be super careful on the release. You got to keep them in the water. Don't lift them out. You know, you got to really handle these fish carefully. Fortunately, I was using barbless hooks, which I typically do anyway. But just to be able to experience that was just unbelievable. And to finally hook into a bull trout when you had no expectation, right? I had zero expectation that was even going to happen on this trip. I was just absolutely thrilled to have caught that bull trout. And actually, after posting that video, I had a fish biologist reach out to me, just kind of ask me some questions because she kind of knew where I was and wanted to kind of understand if I saw any other bull trout and, you know, what I catch them on and how big was it and things like that, because they're doing their best to try to help the recovery of these fish. So she was very interested in learning a little bit more about my catch. So again, that would have never happened, right, if we wouldn't have had like a 6-week break from all the campers. Nobody had been fishing it. Nobody had been camping. The cutthroat fishing was phenomenal. Beautiful brook trout. And then that surprise bull. I mean, unbelievable. So cool. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to spend with me on this story. Until the next time. Oh, and then by the way, if you want to see the long format video of that trip, I'll put it right here. Forgive me, it's one of my earlier videos, so, you know, I've evolved and grown when it comes to a videographer, but you may still find it interesting. Check out that video right here. All right, everybody, until the next time, fish on.
Want to ask Dan a fly fishing question? You can do just that in the comments below on YouTube or good old-fashioned email. Send your question to flyfishdan@gmail.com.